Hello everyone. A quick yes or no in the chat if I am audible and visible. Yes. Yes. Good evening, good afternoon. Yes. Hello everyone. We are just going to start the session in 2 minutes. We'll start the session in 2 minutes. Yes. In the meanwhile, can you guys write which city/country are you logging in from today? Which city/country are you logging in from today? Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, Spain, Hyderabad, Austin, Philippines, Dubai, UAE. Wonderful. 1 more minute and then we are going to start. Cool. Everyone, write ready in the chat if you are ready for starting the session today. Everyone, I could see there are more than 60 people in the chat. Everyone, write ready in the chat if you are ready for the session today. Fantastic. So now, today we are starting the second day of the AI Product Manager Masterclass. Yesterday, we have discussed a bunch of topics. We started with understanding what is happening in the market right now, why this AI PM role is getting so much popularity. I have shown you some real job data, which shows that this job is in very large demand right now, right? After that, we understood why this is happening. So we understood how ChatGPT was made. We were then able to understand how do LLM factories work? So how are LLMs created? How do we make sure that we are able to convert words into numbers, into vectors? And then we were able to understand the processes of building a model, which is pre-training, when we collect all the data from the internet and all over the places. Then we break the data into tokens and vectors. Then we train a large language model on the same. And then we go ahead and post-train in order to give the right behavior to the model, right? And after that, we talked about that there are open source models and there are closed source models. Closed source models are models such as Claude, such as OpenAI's ChatGPT, such as OpenAI's GPT, and open source models are DeepSeek, Kimi K2, and models like these, right? In the open source models, the weight of the model that you are able to identify from the training is known to everyone. So you can take an open source model, host it at yourself, and then you can keep on running it, right? And then we discussed the use cases of large language models. We understood that any large language model should be able to understand, transform, and generate data. This data can be images, can be text, can be code, can be voice, can be audio, can be videos as well, right? And the special part is that they do all of these things. Understand, humans can also do these things, but LLMs are able to do these things at scale. That is the differentiation, right? And after that, I talked about the Gen AI revolution, how every company's valuation is touching the roof. And we also figured out why it is not only the hype, there are some good real use cases of AI, but you have to decide for yourself, right? And then eventually we discussed about the Gen AI value stack. And then we discussed about the different kind of AI PM roles, right? We understood the AI enabled PM. We discussed about what are the things that a PM does, how you can insert AI over there. And we discussed a bunch of other things as well, right? Now, today we are going to discuss a very important part, which is how to become an applied AI PM, right? The purpose of today's session is to help you understood, give you a right roadmap so that you are able to understand how you can go ahead and become an AI applied PM or an applied AI PM, right? Yes. So that was the quick revision of yesterday. Now understand, guys, before we begin, let me tell you what is the purpose of an AI PM, right? What is the purpose of an AI PM? Understand, an AI PM has two purposes. The first purpose is to discover the right use cases of AI in the business and in the customer's life. Figuring out the use cases, right? Which is called as discovery. And the second part is work around the limitations of the LLM in order to solve them. And then first part is the problem understanding. Second part is actually creating the solution. This whole is the job of an AI PM. This is the job of a professional who is being paid almost 1.5x, 2x, 2.5x more than a traditional PM. Right? So, one more point in today's class, which is very important, which is, understand, guys, I can straight away jump to telling you how to create your resume, how to create your portfolio, how to go ahead and apply for jobs, how to go ahead and find jobs, or how to go ahead and network, right? I'm sure most of the people who are sitting right now, they are aggressively and actively looking for this kind of information. How do I just go ahead and get a job as a product manager? Right? A quick yes or no in the chat, guys. If you are here and you want to understand how do I get a job as an AI product manager as soon as possible, tell me yes or no in the chat. Correct? Most of the people, most of the people align with this, right? But understand, guys, this is not how the world works. Just because you want something does not mean you get it, right? Just because you want something does not mean you get it. So at HelloPM, being a learning community, we have a very simple philosophy, a very simple but a very powerful philosophy. And that philosophy is deserve what you desire. I want everyone to look at this sentence very carefully and tell me in the chat, what do you understand from this sentence? Tell me, in the context of you getting the product management job, what do you understand from this sentence? Yes, very good, Jagdish. Very interesting, Snorlax. Yes. Right? So, deserve what you desire means, guys, any company in the world is going to hire you if they think you can do the job. Gone are the days where you will believe that I am going to go ahead and do my degree. And then I am going to rely on the job and my boss and my colleagues to train me on everything. This is not that era, right? Right now, there is so much competition that people want you to be aware about what you are going to do. And they want you to be skilled enough before you can even go ahead and get the job. So, deserve what you desire means you should work hard in order to get the skills before you go ahead and get the job. So, all of these things, creating the resume, building the portfolio, applying for jobs, networking, and finding jobs for yourself, these are tricks, right? These do not work if you are not eligible enough, right? These do not work if you are not eligible enough. So understand, if you do not know about product management, if you do not know about AI, forget about becoming an AI PM. Sometimes you could have become an accidental PM, as most of us are, but right now there is no scope for such people. Okay, you have to make sure that you are working hard in order to become a PM, right? So rather than jumping straight away to tips and tricks to become a product manager, I am going to first tell you the fundamentals. What are you supposed to do as an AI product manager, right? So in the next 1 hour, I'm going to help you understand different product case studies so that you understand how as a product manager you build these products, so that you know that you, so that you feel that you deserve that role. And then I'm going to tell you how do you go ahead and do all of these things, right? So finding the job, creating the resume, preparing for interviews, these are tricks. They only work when you have gone ahead and you are solid in your skills. You are confident in your own skill. Without that, you'll not be able to get confident and people will be able to find. Right? A quick yes or no, everyone, if you're able to understand this. Tell me if you're able to understand deserve what you desire and the pattern of the session. Right. Now, I told you the purpose of an AI PM is, so you have to learn two things as an AI product manager. First is understanding the use cases of AI, that what are the customer problems or what are the business problems that AI can solve for you. And for that, first you need to understand the AI, then you need to understand your problems and the customers and the market and your company. When you combine these two things, the AI part and the problems part, then you'll understand that yes, there are some use cases. And after that, you will work with your team in order to work with these large language models and build some product on top of it. This is your job as a product manager. Two parts: finding the problems and then creating the solution. Right? Now, this is the map of use cases. Yesterday, we have discussed multiple use cases, and all the use cases can be categorized into three categories: understand, trans, understand, transform, and generate. Right? So if you look about the AI use cases in your individual life, then AI is used for advice and decision support, coding and building software, writing, communication, and there are so many things. I'll give you this slide. You can read it. I'll not waste your time here, right? Similarly, for business, we have customer support agent, software engineering, content design and production, right? There are multiple use cases, right? And I'm also going to tell you how, like some case studies of these products as well. Right? Now, this is the second part. Now, understand, just because it can be solved with AI does not mean you should be able to simply solve it with AI, because AI also has limitations. Yesterday, I gave you example of electricity. Electricity can give you light during the night. It can help you generate power so that you are able to operate motors and that can run your vehicles, right? It can help you heat up your water so that you can go ahead and have a bath during the cold weather, right? Electricity has so many use cases. However, there are also some limitations of electricity. The limitations are, it is very fatal, which is it is very risky. If someone goes ahead and touches the wire, they can get electrocuted. it is very difficult to transfer electricity from one place to another, right? So people have to create a step up transformers, step down transformers. There has to be a power grid and so many things. And then when you are distributing the electricity, you have to charge money from people. So they have to invent the meters which are specifically created for electricity. It was not an easy job, right? So although these were the problems with electricity, but because its use cases were so powerful, people have taken this adventure that yes, we are going to make electricity useful. Similarly, in LLMs, there are some nuances. There are some limitations, right? What are the limitations of LLMs? The first limitation of LLM is that LLMs hallucinate. They can give you very confident answers which are completely wrong, right? They can give you very confident answers which are completely wrong, right? Second is they have very limited context window. They have limited context window. So you cannot go ahead and enter every information in that. So how do you manage it? That is a big problem, right? Third is latency. In order to generate an answer from an LLM, it takes some time. So how do you make sure that it is faster or the user does not feel bored, right? The fourth point is cost scaling. Now, in any piece of software, you create a software once, and then for every incremental user, you don't have to pay. Like as a company, you don't have to pay. But in LLMs, for every API request, all the major AI tools right now are paid because they have to pay for every request to the LLM, right? So how do you fit this into your mind? How do you create a product that actually is something that people can pay for, right? Similarly, privacy. Whenever you go ahead and chat to an LLM, your data is going to OpenAI and Anthropic. For your personal use, it is okay. But let's say if you are a company, let's say if you are a Zerodha, or if you are a Andy Money, or if you are a Robinhood, which is a fintech company. Now, fintech companies have regulations that their data cannot be going to other parties without the customer's confirmation. So how do you deal with that, right? Similarly, integrations. Just LLM is not enough. You need to integrate this LLM with certain tools in your company, right? So how do you do this? And similarly, choice of models. There are thousands of models and hundreds of models are coming every month. So how do you decide which model to use? So these are the some of the nuances with using LLMs, right? Can you guys tell me which of these nuances have you experienced by yourself? Which of these decision paralysis things have you experienced by yourself? Yes. So as a product manager, what you need to do is you need to understand how to solve these problems, right? Understand there is no one solution for these problems. Based on your product, based on your idea, you have to come up with a solution, right? Now, let's go forward. So I have told you this, park this in your mind. We will be getting solutions for this. Okay. But right now, let's go forward. Okay. Let's talk about some cases, right? We'll talk about case study number one, right? I am trying to show you how does a large language model product works. How does a Gen AI product works where the powering is mostly done by the large language model. Okay, so that you are able to understand that if you become a product manager, this is what you need to do, right? We are talking about the skilling part, right? Okay, so yes, how many of you are aware about this tool called as Granula, which is a note-taking assistant? Yes or no in the chat if you are aware about this tool called as Granula. Yes. So Granula is like Firefly's Otter.ai. What it does is, this is how Granula works, guys. Yes. So this is how Granula works. You go ahead and conduct the meeting, right? Now understand, as a product manager, you are conducting multiple meetings in a day. Many people are joining multiple meetings. Now, after every meeting, you have to write down all the notes and then you have to send the meeting to everyone. Right? This takes time. This kills productivity. Right? AI can solve this problem. By AI can solve this problem by understanding the transcript and converting the transcript into the summary or actionable pointers. Right? So what Granula or Otter or what do we call it, Fireflies does is, in this meeting also you can see many people are joining along with their meeting assistant. So Granula is a meeting assistant, right? So let's say we did a meeting. If you are using Granula or Fireflies or Otter or Fathom, any of these tools, then they are going to convert your meeting into notes, into summaries, and into tasks. This is the product. This is the product. Right? And I'm sure you guys are also understanding what problem it solves for the users. Right? The problem that it solves is that I do not have to waste time in order to write note during the meetings and follow up with everyone. Right? Everyone, a quick yes or no if you're able to understand the use case of these products before I can tell you how they are built. Right? Now look at this, guys. This is how this product works. This is how this product works. Okay, so let's say you are on Zoom or Google Meet or Cisco WebEx or Microsoft Teams. Right? Now what will happen is, whatever the platform that you are having the meeting on, what will happen is, we are going to go ahead. This platform is going to go ahead. It is going to get the transcript. Right? Either it can get the transcript from these players, or it can go ahead and record the voice. How does it record the voice? It joins the meeting along with the other people. So you might be seeing in this meeting that there are many, for example, Ahmed's Note Companion, right? There are multiple Fireflies also that I can go ahead and see, right? So it is either going to take the transcript directly, or it is going to record the meeting audio, right? And then from that meeting, they are going to use something called as STT API, speech to text. There are multiple companies that give speech to text API. The leading company here is the Whisper from OpenAI. Whisper is a product from OpenAI that converts voice into text. Right? Google speech to text is also another competing player. From India, we have Sarvam AI, which does the same. Similarly, there is a product I'm sure you guys might have used called as Whisper Flow, which also helps in translating that. Right? But right now we are talking about API. So we have taken this, we have got the transcript. Right? After we have got the transcript, this transcript will be converted into summary, into action items, or whatever is the kind of summary that you want. Right? Now, can anyone tell me what is happening here? What is happening between this transcript and converting it into a summary or a actionable list? Tell me in the chat, everyone. Yes. So what we are doing is, we are going to put an LLM here. So we will ask the LLM that take this transcript and convert this transcript into this kind of summary. The instruction that you give to the LLM to deal with this transcript is called as system prompt. The instruction that you give to the LLM to deal with this transcript is called as a system prompt. So in this system prompt, you are going to mention, take this transcript and summarize this into the following structure. So this LLM will take the transcript, it will read your instructions, and then it will convert it into this. And then this platform will send an email to everyone. Right? This is a super simplistic example of how a simple LLM powered product works. Right? A quick yes or no, everyone, if you're able to understand this. Right? Now, look at this. Right? I have given you a very simple system prompt. Now, understand, this is where the product manager comes. The purpose of a product manager here is to make sure that you are creating an experience to the user that is not too intrusive. Right? For example, Granula does not get added to the meeting. It listens from your computer. That is an innovation in UI. That is why Granula is becoming more popular than Fireflies. Similarly, this system prompt, how this system prompt would be written is the responsibility of the product manager, because they understand what are the things that people want from this meeting, or what are the general things that people want from the meeting. For example, if you are writing to the leadership, this is how you are going to write. If you are writing to your colleagues, this is how you are going to write. Right? So product manager is responsible for the overall experience. Right? So now look at this. I gave you a very simple prompt, but that would not be the prompt that we'll be using. We'll be using this prompt. Look at this. This is a system prompt. You are an expert chief of staff and note taker. Given the following raw meeting transcript, generate the structure and actionable summary that includes the following titles: meeting title, date and participants, key decisions, action items, open questions, summary and topic discussed, notable quotes, and everything. Right? Focus on clarity, consciousness, conciseness, usefulness, ignore filler words, and all of these things. And then we are going to put the content here. Right? So this is the ultra simplistic example of a simple AI product. Right? So what we are doing is we are just putting an LLM along with system instructions, and then we are able to create such a helpful use case for everyone. Understand, this is such a popular use case that in this meeting also you can see 10-15 people are joining with their meeting assistants. Right? Everyone tell me on a scale of 1 to 5 if you're able to understand this first case. Yes. Now, let's move a bit forward. Understand, what I told you is not only limited to Granula. Right? It was one case study, but it covers multiple kind of examples. Okay. For example, all the meeting assistants of the world follow the same pattern. Right? Similarly, the products such as Copy AI, Jasper, Grammarly, where they are just taking the prompt or content from you and they are just transforming the content into a summary or an article or a blog, they are also using the exactly same thing. Right? And if you are an AI PM, your purpose is to understand the user experience, make sure it is easier for user to go ahead and give their prompt. It is easier for user to go ahead and understand what the AI is generating. It is easier for user to go ahead and get what they want, create the system prompt. Right? And also understand, in this Granula, you need to make sure that the AI is not hallucinating. So you are going to write the instructions such as, make sure that you are only taking the summary, creating the summary based on the transcript that is given to you. And for understanding all of this, in order to make sure that everything is going correct, you are going to use evals. So what is evals? Yes. Now look at this question very carefully, everyone. Okay, this is very important. Let's say we did a meeting on Granula. After that, it generated the summary. But the summary is not correct. Can you guys tell me what could be the probable mistakes in the summary? Tell me, guys, what could be the probable mistakes in the summary? Give me example of hallucination here. Hallucination is very vague term, guys. Give me pointed examples. Action item assigned to wrong person. Very good. Very good, Dinesh. Anything else? Very good, Kalyani. It made up things that were not spoken about. Very good. Yes, email is being sent to an outsider. Very good. Now you guys are thinking. The tone was appropriate. Very good. Yes. Right. So let's say these are the 4 mistakes that LLMs can make. Right. So now your responsibility is to make sure that you are able to catch them all. Right. You are able to catch them all. And understand, guys, why can this happen? Why can these, let's understand, why can these issues happen? These issues can happen when you are giving wrong or incomplete instructions. Your prompt is not correct. Your model is not powerful enough to follow them, or the tools that you are connected, for example, your email provider or the transcript that you are getting, it is not correct. Okay. Which is tools and integrations are not working correctly. Right. A quick yes or no, everyone, if you're able to understand the issue and the causes. Right. But now how would you find this out? So as a product manager, what you will do is understand, as a product manager, you will not trust the system. You will never trust this prompt or model or anything. What you will do is you will create a test. For example, your kid can tell you that, dad or mom, I'm studying really well. Right. But eventually you don't trust them. You trust the result that their school is going to give after they have conducted a test. Right. We are going to go ahead and conduct a test. The test of an AI system is called as evaluation, or evals for short. So evals are nothing but fancy tests for your AI systems. Right. So how would you write tests for this? You are going to have sample cases. You are going to write. So for example, you are going to have multiple sample transcripts. You are going to send it to the model, to your, let's say, to your Granula, and then you are going to test whether this is happening or not. Right. If it is making a mistake, you are going to tweak this, or this. right? So this is a simple definition of evaluation. What is evaluation? You first understand where your AI system can fail. Then you create test cases in order to solve that. And then you tweak things such as the instructions, models, toolings to make sure that these mistakes are being reduced. Right? A quick yes or no, everyone, if you're able to understand this. Right? And like in a test, someone checks the copy, right? Someone checks the copy, right? So how does someone checks the copy here? You can either check your evaluations by code, like for example, the summary should always be less than 500 words, unless otherwise it is not a summary, right? So you can give the summary to a code which is going to check whether it is 500 words or not. If it is more than 500, it is going to show an error. This is first evaluation. The second evaluation is you are going to get it tested through humans. So humans will take the input, they will put it in Granula, they will get the output, and they will understand whether everything is correct or not. That is called as human as evaluators. And third is, which is a scalable and the most important part and the most interesting part, which is LLM as a judge. So what we will do is we will give the input and the output to the LLM, and then we are going to ask another LLM that whether this output is in line with the input or not. Right? So this is simple eval 101. Right? So we have covered one kind of product, the ultra simplistic product, which are just created by system prompts and prompt engineering. All of them are created in this particular way. As a PM, your role is to write system prompts, evaluations, and take care of the whole customer experience. And also identify this use case. Right? So tell me, guys, in the chat, if you were a product manager for Granula, Otter, Fireflies, Copy AI, Jasper, or Grammarly, now do you know what do you need to do or not? Tell me yes or no in the chat. Now do you know what do you need to do or not as an AI PM for these products? Very good. Now let's move forward. Yes. We use a better LLM there. A human can judge that, right? Now let's talk about a second case study. How many of you know about this product called as Notebook LM or Gemini Notebook? They have recently rebranded as from Notebook LM to Gemini Notebook. Right? Now, guys, understand. Let us go a bit level advanced, okay? So look at this. Right now, what we were doing was, we have a meeting transcript plus a system prompt. We are giving this to an LLM and it is giving us the output. Right? Happy small case. Right? Happy small case. However, there many products in real life are not like this. Let's say I tell you, I am using Notion or I am using Google Docs. Right? I am using Google Docs or Notion. Right? Now I need to put an LLM on top of that. By putting LLM, I mean I should be able to talk to my Notion or Google Docs in the natural language. I should be able to ask my Google Doc, like my whole Google Drive, that what are my to-do items for tomorrow? What have I written in that particular PRD? What have I discussed in that particular meeting? Right? So all my data is saved here. And I want let's say a summary, or I want to talk to them in the natural language. Now, one method is I can take all of these. So I can take all of this content from Notion or Google Doc or any other system where we have the information, right? And then I can put my query, whatever is my query, let's say, tell me what is in the PRD for this particular feature, right? And then there is going to be some system prompt, right? Now, if I enter all of this into an LLM, tell me guys what will happen. Tell me what will happen if I go ahead and put all of this in an LLM together. Initially, we were only putting transcript and everything, but now what will happen? Guys, I want an answer from everyone. Let's be interactive. Think on your feet and tell me the answer. It's okay to give wrong answers. That is how you learn. Understand? If you give the wrong answer and if I tell you the right answer, I can assure you, you will never forget the right answer. But if you are in your own mind not writing there, I can assure you, even if I give you the right answer, that will not stick in your mind. So make mistakes. That is the best way to learn. Even if someone has answered this, that is okay. Go ahead. You are individually attending this session, right? Yes. Now what will happen is, understand guys, every model has two issues. Every model has two issues. The one issue is that every model has a limited context window. And all of these context windows are also very costly. If you go to this page, for example, Open AI API pricing, right? Look at this. GPT 5.6, it is taking $4 for input and $20 for output, right? Short context, long context. So you are charged for your context. So if you go ahead and randomly put everything in the model will run out of context. And even if it does not run out of context, you are going to pay a lot, right? That is a problem. The second problem is there is something called as context rot. Okay, let me show you what is context rot. So this company called as ChromaDB, they have conducted a research, like a very well set up research, where they have been able to find that as we increase the tokens that we are giving to the model, right, the accuracy of the models also go down. So with context, with more context, the models tend to give you some wrong answers. Right? So now you cannot go ahead and blindly put all the data in the model. You can do it in your personal cloud, but for company, you have to be when you are building the products, you have to be going ahead and you have to understand what you are doing. Right? So tell me yes or no in the chat, why we cannot put all the content at once in the large language model. Understand? Right now, we are talking about just your Google Docs and Notion. In a company, there would be gigabytes and maybe terabytes of data, which you cannot go ahead and put it there. Right? So if you are trying to build your LLM, your LLM application or AI application, then AI application on top of a large database, you cannot put all the database at once in the large language model. Right? Why you cannot book? Because there is a limited context window. Context window is costly and there is context drop. Everyone, a quick yes or no if you are able to understand the problem before I can give you the solution. Yes. Very good, right? Now, what is the solution? Now, listen to this story. Okay, let's say you are born in an ultra rich family. Let's say you are born in an ultra rich family and your family owns a big mansion. Mansion means like a big house with almost how many are these? These many rooms, right? One day you are alone at house. One day you are alone at house. Although you are living in a big mansion, but your locality is the general middle class and lower middle class locality, right? So a neighbor comes to your house and they ask you that I need sugar. Guests have came at my house and I have ran out of sugar. Now, very common scenario, right? Let's say you are alone at house. What are you going to do? You know this neighbor, by the way, so no security issues. Tell me, guys, what would you do? A neighbor comes to you and they ask you for sugar. What are you going to do? Yes. Yes. So now understand, even if you are very rich and if you have this big mansion, right, you will not be stupid to search for all the rooms one by one. What you will do is, you know where the kitchen is. Let's say here is the kitchen. So you are straight away going to the kitchen, right? Even if you are, let's say, someone who is ultra rich, even in that case, you will know where the kitchen of your house is, right? So you will go to the kitchen, you will find wherever the sugar is in that particular shelf, and then you are going to go ahead and give her the sugar, right? Understand this carefully. Once again, you'll get the answer for the last point. Okay. So what we'll do is, when someone asks you for sugar, you do not look for the sugar in all of your house. You do not look for sugar in the washroom. You go to a particular part where the sugar is, right? And then the sugar you are going to pick up from this particular room and give it to the person, right? Tell me, everyone, if you're able to understand what is happening here. Tell me if you're able to get some clues. Run your mind and help me understand if you're able to get some clues. Yes. So understand, what we do is, in order to solve the problem of big databases or running data, we have a lot of data and we have to give it to an LLM. What we do is, rather than giving all the data to the LLM, we only give the relevant data to the LLM. Here we are only searching for the relevant room, which is the kitchen. And in a large language model, while building an application, we only find from the database that this is important. For example, in my Google Drive, I want to search for that what is the deadline for this particular feature. What is the deadline for this particular feature? So rather than giving all the context to the LLM, I should only give the document. I should only give the document where that deadline is mentioned. Right? Where that deadline is mentioned. So this particular process is called as RAG. Now let me give you the actual part of RAG after the story, right? Look at this. So first what we do is, we have a database. We have a database, right? Database of files, of PDFs, of images, of anything, right? We take the database and then we break down the database either into files or into small segments so that these are small. For example, if I'm taking a Google Drive, then Google Drive would have files. If I'm talking about a big essay, then I would have paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. If I'm talking about a code base, I would have function 1, function 2, function 3. Right? So I'm going to take all of my database. I'm going to break down the database into small parts. These small parts are called as chunks. Right? So database to chunks. Right? So now I have units of information about my database. Right? Now the next thing is, when the user gives me a query, that go ahead and search for this information. What we are going to do is, we will go ahead. From this query, we will understand the right words or sentences. And then we are going to search for these words in the chunks. Right? We are going to search for the whole database for these words. And then maybe out of these chunks, we will have chunk 1, chunk 2, chunk 3. For example, in our house, maybe there are 3 rooms that are relevant for that particular part. Right? So chunk 1, chunk 2, chunk 3. Out of the whole database, only 3 chunks are containing those particular words or those things. Right? And after this, once we have these chunks, we are going to give this query plus these chunks, which is the information, to an LLM, and it is going to generate the answer. For example, let's say I have the Google Drive. In my Google Drive, I have 3 documents. One document is this AI PM class, the transcript. The second document is the PRD on a product that I am developing. And the third document is maybe the salary slip of one of my employees. Right? I ask the LLM that please tell me what is the agenda for the AI PM class. What is the agenda for the AI PM class? Right? So this query will be searched here. Right? It will find that this is the relevant content. So now here LLM will get the query. The query is, what is the agenda for the LLM class? And this is the context along with the prompt. And then it will tell me, based by reading the document, that this is the agenda that you should follow. Right? So this is the simplistic version of RAG. A quick yes or no, everyone, if you're able to understand this. What we did is, we created a database, broke it down into chunks. Then we are first searching in the chunks before giving the information to the LLM. Initially, we were giving this whole database to the LLM. Right? But there is an issue. The issue is, let's say yes, Sunita, Google indexing that information is a different problem. LLM is a different problem. We are comparing apples to oranges here. Right? Now, guys, there is a problem. The problem is, let's say, in the PRD, or let's say in the AI PM Masterclass, I have gone ahead and written this AI as artificial intelligence. Right? I have done this as artificial intelligence. Right? But when I'm searching through an LLM, when I'm putting the query on LLM, I am using AI. I am using Gen AI. So understand, these words will not match to this. Although it is the same thing, but it will not match. So I will not get the result. Right? So for example, when you search on your WhatsApp, you search for the name. If the spelling is mistaken, then you will not get the results. Right? So if you are doing the normal text search, you will not get the related information. For example, AI is related to artificial intelligence. Right? Everyone, a quick yes or no if you're able to understand the problem now. The problem here is, let's say, rather than using the exact word that is mentioned in the document, I am using some similar word. Rather than using artificial intelligence, I am using AI. Rather than using artificial intelligence, I am using Gen AI. Right? I am using synonyms, or similar kind of words. Right? So for this, what we are going to do is, we are going to go ahead and use something called as semantic search, or even better, what we discussed yesterday, vector search. Yesterday we discussed about vectors. Vectors contains the true meaning of words, sentences, and the data. Right? So now, what we are going to do is, we have the large database. This database contains PDF. This contains transcripts. This contains documents, right? We are going to break down this database into small chunks. Right? Understand, when we break down into chunks, we also keep the source files which are attached to this, so that if one chunk is retrieved, we should be able to know where this chunk is coming from. Right? So we have chunks. Now, these chunks, these small pieces of information where we are going to search, these are converted into vectors. There are APIs available through which you can convert a chunk into a vector. Everyone knows what is a vector. We have discussed yesterday, right? Vectors is the numerical representation of words, sentences, and data in the vector space, right? I gave you example of cat, dog, and king and queen yesterday, right? Then vectors, right? After that, what will happen? User will send the query. We are going to convert the query into vector. Then we are going to search for these vectors. We are going to search for this vector in this list of vectors. Understand, this is a list of vectors. Right? These vectors are also called as, very good Richa, embeddings. So this vector will be searched in this list of vectors. So whatever are the similar vectors, they are going to get returned. So let's say we have chunk 1, chunk 2, and chunk 3. And then we will take the text query, we will copy these chunks, and then we will write a prompt. What we will do is we will write answer the following user query. This is the user query only based on following data. Chunk 1, chunk 2, and chunk 3. Right? And this prompt will go to the large language model and the user will get the answer. Right? So this is RAG 101. Everyone, yes or no, if you are able to understand this. Everyone, please go ahead. Yes. Rukayat, you should watch the recording now. Yes. Cool. This prompt is given by us. When we are designing the system, this will be given by us. Yes. The embedding should be done by the same embedding algorithm. The embedding should be done by the same embedding algorithm. Right? Now, guys, now, if you look at this product called as Notebook LM, if you look at this product called as Notebook LM, what it does is you can, this is a very powerful research tool. You can go ahead and give it any number of resources, any number of YouTube videos. I think in the free plan, they offer up to 50 or 100. And in the paid plan, they offer a lot. Right? Yes. By the way, if you are a HelloPM student, you can get the Gemini Pro subscription for 1 year for free. So we have partnered with, as a university, with Google. Right? So this is the first part. Now, you can go ahead and add as many number of resources. And then you can ask question based on that, so that you are able to do market research as a product manager. Right? Now, guys, can you help me understand what kind of system does Notebook LM works upon? What is the logic behind Notebook LM, guys? It has so much data, still it is able to work. Yes, right. So Notebook LM is an ideal example of RAG. Okay, I told you RAG, but I did not tell you the definition, right? So definition in the end, right? So here what is happening is, look at this carefully, guys. First of all, we are retrieving the right chunks. Retrieving means we are searching for the right information from the database, right? This part is called as retrieval. When you search for the right information based on user query from the database, that is called as retrieval, right? The second part is augment. We go ahead, user has given us something else query. We are giving something else to the LLM. So this change is called as augment. We are augmenting the prompt, right? We are augmenting the prompt into something more helpful, right? And the third part is we are then giving to the LLM, and the LLM is generating the information or the answer. So retrieval, augment, generation, this is why this name is. We first retrieve the content, the right chunks from the data knowledge base. And then we go ahead and like augment the prompt, chunks plus the user query, and then we get the answer generated from the model. Right? In Notebook LM, chunking happens as soon as you enter that source, not during the user prompt. Right? Everyone tell me on a scale of 1 to 5 if you are able to understand RAG. Yes. Understand, guys? This is just 10-minute version of RAG. RAG is a very deep technology. We talk about so many things such as re-ranking, right kind of chunking, using the right kind of models, re-indexing, hashing, and agentic RAG and everything. But that we talk in a bigger program where if you are really serious about understanding deep about AI PM, you can go ahead and check it out on hellopm.co. Right. But for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a break of 5 minutes and we are going to come back in just 5 minutes. Okay, so quick break of 5 minutes. After that, we are going to go one level deeper. We have talked about prompt engineering, RAG, and now we are going to go one level deeper. So come back as the timer ends. Hello everyone, welcome back. Yes. Hello everyone, welcome back. Please write I am back in the chat if you are back. Yes. So understand guys, I have given you that 15-minute version of RAG. Understand entire billion-dollar companies, like multiple billion-dollar companies are built on RAG. So do not expect that you will understand everything in 10 minutes. But I have told you enough information so that you can go ahead and explore further. If you want to understand things in detail, there's a separate program that we run that you can go ahead and check out. Right? But only if you are really serious about learning all of this and if you can go ahead and dedicate time. Right? Cool. Yes. Yes. So everyone, a request, what you can do is, I have sent a link in the chat. If you are getting value from the session, please go ahead, take 1 minute in order to share your feedback there before I can go ahead and move with the new case studies. Go ahead, everyone. If you are able to learn something from these free sessions, go ahead, post your feedback in the comment section. When you post a comment, your network knows about them and they are also informed about these free sessions so that they can also go ahead and get some value. So help us help others. Go ahead, take a moment in order to leave your comments. I'll wait for you here. Go ahead, guys, take a minute, leave your comment. That will really help us reach more people like you and help them out. If you are getting the value from the session, please do not keep it to yourself. Yes. In that same post, I've also shared the notes from yesterday. Tomorrow, I'm going to share both the notes. Yes. Now, let's come back. Okay. So we have talked about RAG. What is the problem that RAG solves? Can anyone tell me in the chat, what is the problem that RAG solves? What is the problem that we solved with RAG? The problem of limited context window and the problem of ever growing information. Yes. And we also saved some money on the tokens, right? Yes. Yes. Now we'll talk about, now understand guys, these other products also work in the same direction. So Notebook LM you have already understood. Glean, Intercom Fin, Chat PDF, Gendex, Perplexity, they also work in the same direction. They are also RAG based products. So if you understand RAG, you are ready for so many use cases that you can build with AI. Right? So here with prompt engineering, you can do so many things. With RAG, you can do again so many things. Right? Now let's discuss another example. Okay. We are discussing an example of Make My Trips AI assistant, which is Myra. So what Myra does is, I ask Myra the question that, Myra, I'm going to Mumbai next week. give me the cheapest flight options available with the shortest route without any layovers. Okay, then it is going to go ahead and give me the answers. And not only it will give me the answers, ChatGPT can also give me the answers. It is also going to go ahead and show me the exact flights, and I can also ask it to book the flight. Right? So now what I'm doing here is, if you are able to understand a pattern, I am able to interact with a product with the help of natural language. Before this, if I need to do this, what I need to do is, I will go to make my trip. I will go ahead and write where I need to go, from where do I need to go. I'll put my budget, then I'll put economy or something, and then I'll put the dates, and then I'll put the search. Now I can just speak it out, and then it will give me all the results along with the booking information. Right? So this is the third kind of product. Another example is, if you guys are using Notion, I can ask my Notion to go ahead and write all the content pieces that are there in my draft and mark them as completed. Or whatever emails that I have received, I can ask my Gemini assistant that whatever email that I have received, if there are any unimportant emails which you don't think require my attention, go ahead and reply to them. Right? So what we are doing is, we are interacting with the product with the help of natural language. Right? Can you guys give me one more use case for the same? Give me one more example of such a product where you are interacting with the product with the help of natural language. Yes. So far, we were only playing with information. We were getting some information or more information, information going, information coming. But now we are talking about taking actions. Now we are talking about taking actions. Right? So all of the tools that you see, here, right? Rufus, Notion AI, Cursor, Claude Code, Gamma, almost all the tools that you believe or you see are actually example of this third category. This is the agentic AI, where the LLMs, are not only doing the information retrieval, they are actually executing multiple tools. And the tools can be either web search, they can search on web, or if you talk about Myra from Make My Trip, it is finding flights, which is an internal tool from Make My Trip. If you talk about Notion, then creating documents. Right? If you talk about Amazon Rufus, then buying and adding on e-commerce. So now we are giving the ability to the AI to go ahead and call some tools and do some actions. This is the third category of tools. Right? This is the third category of tools. Now, understand, guys, understand this very carefully. A large language model can understand the user input and it can generate the output. Point number one. Now, whenever you want to do any action on the web or on the internet or on a computer, let's say you want to do any action, what you do is, you go ahead and give it some kind of input and then you get the output. For example, if you want to search for flights, on Make My Trip, what do you give? You give the source, the destination, the date, and the class. Source, destination, date, and class. And in return, what do we get? We get list of flights plus cost. Right? So if you want to use any tool, for example, I want to use web search, I will give a query to that web search tool, and the web search tool is going to give me the return, which is a detailed piece of content. Right? So every tool in the world, it takes input, it generates an output. But LLMs can take input of any kind. LLMs can take input of any kind, but these tools, they only take structured inputs. What is structured input? This. If you want flights, give me the source, the destination, the date, and everything else. Right? If you want to search something on the web, give me the topic and what are the websites that I should search. If you want to send an email, give me the email address of someone who wants to receive this and give me the content and give me the subject. Right? A quick yes or no, everyone, if you're able to understand point number 1 and 2. Number 1 is this, and number 2 is this. Number 1, LLM can take any input and generate any output. The tools can only take structured input and generate structured output. Right? A quick yes or no, everyone, if you're able to understand this. Right? Now, guys, understand. So some people thought, if my LLM can generate anything and the tool can only can get structured input, why don't I generate structured input as an output from the LLM? Look at this. Look at this. When you search for flight on Make My Trip, let's say we are Make My Trip and we have an API. The API is search flights. And in this API, in this input, it receives what is the source, what is the destination, what is the class, and what are the dates. Right? So right now, when you normally go to Make My Trip and when you go ahead and search for the flights, you enter all of this information and it gives you the result. Right? You give this input to this API and the output is this. Flight, maybe American Airlines, cost 2,700 USD, class economy. Similarly, second flight, British Airways, cost is something else, this is something else. So we are going to get this list. So when you call a tool, the tool will give you structured input and structured output. Right? This is the tool or this is the tool or API that is created by the provider of that company. For example, Make My Trip is going to create it, Amazon is going to create it, Notion is going to create it, and they might have already created it. Right? Because that is how their product works. Now what we are doing is, we are just connecting this to large language model. So what we are doing is, we give a natural language prompt to the large language model. Right? What we are telling large language model is, go ahead and tell me which are the flights that are available from here to here. Right? So this large language model, it knows that this particular tool takes the information in this particular structure. So it is going to This LLM is going to create a structured output. This output from the LLM is going to become the input for this tool. This tool is going to give you the result. Then again, this LLM is going to take this as an input, this result, and convert into a natural language, which is an output for you. Right? So this is how the LLM connects with the tools. Now you can take any tool in the world. Web search, sending email, receiving email, putting a ticket on Jira or anything. Everything has an API, and through API, LLM is able to connect with any tool. Right? So LLMs can understand natural language. They can create any kind of structured input. They can understand any kind of structured output. Right? So that is how we have been able to connect the LLM to the real applications of the world. And that is how we have been able to create agentic products. Everyone, a quick yes or no if you are able to get this around your head. Right? But now there is a problem. Now there is a problem, guys. Can you tell me what is the problem? That is the answer B. That is not the problem. That is the answer. What is the problem here, guys? Now understand what happens is there are thousands and millions of tools in the world. And for understanding every tool, you have to understand its API documentation. Right? And LLM has to understand the API documentation again and again. And every API documentation is also changing. Every tool is different. So LLM has to do a lot of hard work. If LLM is not doing this hard work, then you as a developer have to do this hard work. If LLM is not doing this hard work, that you as a developer has to do this hard work. So what we are doing is, rather than relying on API documentation, what we do is, we introduce something called as MCP, also called as Model Context Protocol. Right? So what does MCP does? So understand, guys, MCP is a stupidly simple idea. It's a very simple idea. Right? The idea is very simple. What happens is, let's say there is a company called as Make My Trip. This company has multiple APIs. They have one API through which you can search flights. They have another API through which you can go ahead and book flights. They have another API through which you can search hotels. And they have another API through which you can book hotels. They have another API through which you can check the reviews of the properties, right? So they have multiple APIs, right? Now your LLM does not need to go through every API documentation, because that is going to run out of the context window, and that is inefficient, right? And if you keep on maintaining these versions, you are going to run out of patience as a product, as a engineer, because it is too much. So what Anthropic has done was, Anthropic introduced a very simple concept called as MCP. MCP is very simple. Now look at MCP, what MCP does. MCP says that this company should create a simple definition of all of these tools. So all of these API endpoints, these are called as API endpoints. Okay, quick question, everyone. How many of you have no idea what an API is? Tell me yes or no in the chat if you know about APIs. Tell me yes or no in the chat if you know about APIs. Yes. If you have no idea about APIs, please go to Google, search for API for product managers, right? Click on this first link. You will see a familiar face. Watch this complete video. This is the only video that you need in order to understand API as a product manager. Okay. About it is almost a 1 hour video. It's free. Right? So what we do is we just write MCP like this. Okay. So what we will do is we will write in the MCP file, we will write tools available, name, search flights, description, when user wants to search flights, when user wants to search flights, right? Input, whatever inputs that you want. Output, this format. That's it. This is MCP. When you create a interlayer in between, where the API is defined in the natural language for the LLM, that is called as an MCP. So they follow a common protocol, which is there has to be a tool name, there has to be a description, there has to be an input and the output. That's it. Because natural language is easily understood by these people, by the large language models, right? So this is model context protocol, which means we have a protocol, this protocol of giving the name, the description, the input and the output in the natural language, to protocol to the context. We have a protocol to give the context to the model, right? So most of the MCPs are the layer on top of APIs. That's it, right? MCPs do not replace APIs. They are just a layer on top of the same, which can be easily understood by a large language model. Right? So how do systems become agentic? Systems became agentic when LLMs are able to connect with the tools, and they are able to retry as long as they are not able to get the answer. Yes. So most of the times, MCPs are created by the tool providers themselves. Right? Sometimes community also creates them. Right? So all your favorite tools, whatever you use, are actually using the same format. Now, guys, this is the anatomy of any Gen AI product. User gives the input. Now, the context is collected either from RAG or from system instructions, and then it goes to an LLM. LLM uses multiple kind of databases, tools, APIs, web search, other agents, and then it generates an answer and gives you the answer. This is how every tool works. Now, I have also used something called as agent. So rather than having only tools, it can also interact with other LLMs and other agents. Right? So this is AI product 101 for you. Everyone, a quick yes or no if you are able to understand this. Yes. So this is, guys, understand, this is the surface of AI product management. If you go a bit deeper, things are very, very interesting. Right? Things are very interesting. There are so many amazing concepts that are coming every day that you'll be absolutely amazed by learning all of these things. Right? Now, I believe that some of you are now able to understand what does it takes in order to build AI products and what happens behind the scene, in your favorite AI products. Right? Tell me, guys, in the chat, do you now understand how the AI products work? I have given you enough examples. Almost 18 examples, I would say. Yes. Very good. So now I'm going to take maybe 15, 20 more minutes. Fine tuning, we are not going to cover, Sunita, because it's a very detailed topic which we cover in the bigger program. Right? Now, guys, now let's talk about getting the job. So now you understood the landscape, you understood the skills, you understand your two purposes. I have given you enough example what your day is going to look like, what are you supposed to do as an AI product manager. Now let's talk about the stuff. The stuff is getting the job. Right? Traditionally, all of us have got the jobs, our parents, us, our colleagues, our brothers or sisters, everyone was able to get a job through that piece of document called as the resume. You give resume to someone, they look at your alma mater, they look at your companies. If they choose you, it's very good. Otherwise, they are going to move to the other candidate. Right? Now the things are changing. Now the things are changing. The usual suspects that you used to get a job for, which is the resume, is now changing. Right? So now what is happening in the industry is, look at this. Look at this comic carefully and tell me what is happening here. You go to a CEO or maybe an HR and you ask them, boss, I want to become an AI PM at your company because you want this. That is your wish. That is your desire. But then they ask you why. And then you tell, because I am passionate about AI. I read about AI all the days. I post about AI on LinkedIn. I read all the newsletters. I have subscribed to all the newsletters. Right? But now that person is worried that whether she can do the job or not. Right? So people do not care about your passion or your desire. People care about whether you are able to fuel up that passion from actual work or not. Whether you are able to channelize that passion or not. Right? So now, guys, today, if you asked me 4 years ago that I can only create a documentation or a case study as a product manager because I don't know how to code, I would understand you. But today you have no reason to not build actual stuff. All of these tools, ChatGPT, Bolt, Lovable, Base 44, all of these tools are there to help you to build actual stuff. No one can stop you from building. Right? So as a product manager, you have to think. There is no money for thinking. As a product manager, you have to build to showcase your proof of work. Right? And you not only have to build, understand, you cannot just to go to Lovable and put a prompt and create a product and add it as a part of your portfolio. You have to do the thinking behind it. You have to get some users so that people understand that you have done the actual hard work. Right? So few years ago, we used to tell developers that shut the F up and build. But now what we do is we say that talk to your customers and then build. Talk to your customers and then build. And guess who is the best person in the team to talk to the customers, do the research, go ahead and understand the market. Right? Yes. So understand, guys, this is why PMs are very powerful. Right? Initially, PMs used to do all of this stuff and they would depend on developer to build something. Now you have all the power. So you have no excuse. So if you are saying that I want to become an AI PM, and if you have never built any product in your life, then you are just fooling yourself. Right? You can fool yourself, but you cannot fool the company. Right? So without proof of work, don't even imagine to get a job as an AI PM without strong experience. Right? So now this is the ultimate slide where I am going to tell you how to go ahead and get a job. Right? I am going to tell you multiple things out there. The first part is, which is everyone misses, is please make sure that whenever you get a job listing at any place, please customize your resume as per the job description. Right? This alone thing is going to get you ahead of the 80% of the candidates. Please customize your job description please customize your resume as per the job description. Right? Guys, tell me right now, whatever your resume is, how would you rate it outside? How would you rate it yourself out of 1 to 10? Whatever your resume is, what would you rate it out of 1 to 10? Very ambitious people. 8. Wow. 9. Nice. So in the slide that you are going to get after the session ends, I'll I'll send this resume checklist for you. This has multiple examples, good policies, good practice, bad practices, and a checklist so that you can follow and make your resume better. This is very simple step number 1. Just make sure that you follow that. Right. Second is leverage your network. Referrals still work. Talk to your people who were senior in your college. Talk to your people who were juniors in your college. Talk to your colleagues who are going to other companies and are working there. Okay, so please leverage your network. If you are part of any boot camp or any college or any institution, please leverage your network. Right? At HelloPM, we help our candidates leverage our network with the help of the job board. Look at this. So for HelloPM student, we have something called as a career board, where we go to our network and we find jobs for them. Right? So if you look at this, these are general jobs taken from the internet, but these jobs are jobs where the HelloPM candidates can get the reference. Right? Purple, Not Home, Spine, Beyond, many AI and non-AI companies. Right? So this is what a bootcamp and also go ahead and add it for you. Right? Third is learn to cold email. Right? Just by sending your resume to the HR or going ahead and apply, click on that easy apply button on LinkedIn will not work. Learn how to write cold emails. Use ChatGPT for that. Like, don't write it with ChatGPT, but learn how to write a good cold email with ChatGPT. Right? If you do these 3 things, you will be ahead of 80-85% of the market. But still, you are competing with 15% people. Right? Out of every candidate, 100 candidates who are applying for the job, maybe half of them or 0.25 have the probability to get selected. Right? So just coming in the top 15 is not enough. So the next part is, please create a portfolio. Please create a portfolio. What is a portfolio, guys? Very simple. Create a list of companies. Let's say create a list of 20 companies where you want to work. After that, assume if you were the product manager at that company, what would you do in your first 6 months or 1 year? Do that, build a prototype, create a slide deck, do the research, and then send it to the right person in the company or right people in the company. Right? I call this a self-screening artifact. So whenever you are applying as an AI PM at a company, maybe in a junior position, people always send you the assignment. You are doing this assignment proactively. Right? So what you will do is, you will search for a list of companies. You will search on the industry, find a problem to solve, understand the problem in detail, find the prospective solutions. You will find a clear and valuable deliverable, and then you are going to follow up with them after sending the email. Right? So tell me in the chat, guys, how many of you know how to do this? Tell me yes or no in the chat if you know how to do this. Yes. So if you don't know this, then you don't have this. If you don't know the job of a product manager, then how are you going to do the job of a product manager? Right? So if you are feeling uncomfortable in doing all of this, that means you don't know how to do all of this. So that means you are not even eligible for the job. Right? So first learn this and then go ahead and do that. right? A quick yes or no, everyone, if you're able to understand what I'm trying to say. Deserve what you desire, right? I can tell you what is the format of the resume. I can tell you what is the format of the case study. I can tell you what should go in the prototype. But it is you who has to do that, who have to do that, right? Correct. And if some of you do not know how to find the companies, these are the things. Y Combinator directory, Crunchbase, Angel List, FinSMEs, Your Story, INC42. So if you go to this website, finsmes.com, you will get a list of all the companies that are being funded. And when the company gets funded, the first thing, the first thing that they do is hire more people. When a company gets funded, the first thing that they do is hire more people. So imagine that if you are working at this company called as Idler, what would you do as a product manager? Research about it. AI is available to you. Your own brain is available to you. I have told you how AI products and other products work. Now sky is the limit for you. Now it is your own hard work. Yes. That is an illusion, Dana. That is an illusion that if you guys think that I have such great ideas that this company is going to use my ideas. If you were in that position, you would not be looking for a job right now. So forget about that delusion that I have so good ideas that if this company takes the ideas, what I'm going to do. No, companies don't have time to execute your ideas, or don't even care about them. And honestly, we guys are not in a position to decide that. Right. And when you are creating the portfolio, in the portfolio, you can mention 5 things. Okay. First is First is just general content and commentary, which is very easy. How AI products work. You can do the tear downs of the products, right? Then you can have some product improvement case studies, like you can do it for their own company. Third is you can do side projects. And the fourth and the ultimate part is you can go ahead and do whatever in the past, if you have built any product as a product manager or as a founder, you can also go ahead and add that. Right. So now, guys, I have gone ahead and given you, I have gone ahead and given you enough information that you need. But what you need is not information. What you need is knowledge, so that if any new problem comes to you, any new company comes to you, you should be confidently saying that, yes, I can operate as an AI product manager in this situation. Right? I told you about LLMs. I told you about their limitations. I also told you about multiple case studies of how real products are created. Right? Now, tell me, how would you convert this information that I have given you to knowledge? Tell me, guys, how would you convert this information into knowledge? Yes, by taking action, right? So if you go to the HelloPM website, if you go to why HelloPM section, in the table, you should be able to see. So if you guys are looking for examples and inspiration, these are some of the projects. For example, look at this. In the curriculum, in the first section, these are some of the projects that are created by the HelloPM students within first month of their program. Right? You can look at them. Right? Maybe let me show you more. So this is from cohort 47. Almost 100 people have created them. So yes, so maybe we can see this. Yes. So the problem statement was, right now, most of us are able to see. So we have given to these students that you have to improve an existing product. And you don't have to create a case study, you have to actually create a prototype. So this person, what was his name? Mayank Bharadwaj. He actually understood that right now these days we are discovering new content through reels, right? So he created something called as try scene sense, where you can find particular scene in a particular series or an episode or in a video or in a movie on Netflix, right? So this is what people are creating in the first month. So understand, now you have no excuse to not build because everything is available to you, right? On the website, there are multiple, like more than 100, 200, 500 examples. You can go ahead and check them, right? So tell me, guys, who commits to creating their portfolio after today's class? For platforms PMs, you can also create thesis. You can create API docs and everything, right? Now, guys, understand one more thing. Motivation is perishable. Motivation is perishable, which means that if you do not take the action as soon as possible, tomorrow, tomorrow, you are going to lose that motivation and something else is going to catch up in your life. So right now, because you have spent 4 hours in order to go ahead and understand all of this, you are motivated. What you need to do is you have to take an action as soon as possible because motivation is perishable. Start a case study, talk to your friend, understand, watch the video, do something so that you are able to continue this motivation. Right? Yes. So now, before I can share the feedback form with everyone, I will take one moment to help you understand about what we do at HelloPM. Okay. So at HelloPM, we have created the world's most detailed and the most current product management program. Understand, if I can teach you so many things in just 4 hours, what we can do in the 15 weeks, like 4 months. And the support that we give you is for a period of 2 years, right? If you want to understand what we do, the first thing that you should do is go to hellopm.co, click on curriculum. You should be able to see this curriculum. It is my challenge, it is my promise that take this curriculum, compare it with any other AI PM or PM or AI curriculum in the world, any other, right? You will not be able to see a more detailed and a more recent program, right? For example, very recently, we have came across these words called as harness engineering, right? This is included in our curriculum. So all the curriculum are lacking from the market by 1 year or 6 months. We are yet ahead of the market, right? That is the first USP. And the second part is, before you join HelloPM, remember that you have to go ahead and do a lot of hard work in this program. This is not an easy program. When we promise transformation, we really mean it. So you have to do the hard work, right? Before you join, look at the kind of tools that you are going to learn here. So if you want to compare the program with other programs, you can go ahead and always go through this sheet. You can use ChatGPT, Gemini, or anyone in order to compare the curriculum. Also, we have recently done partnership with multiple tools. So we are also going to teach you all of these tools because tools are becoming super important for product manager. This is the recent addition in the curriculum. We have added this only from cohort number 53 that is going to be added from next Sunday, right? And we have a simple philosophy of deserve what you desire. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you are actually building things. We will help you build multiple projects in the whole program. So you will have a strong portfolio out of the program. You can see multiple examples here, right? And the fees and every detail is mentioned here. The fees is 75,000 rupees or 1,000 US dollar for people from outside India, paid in EMIs. Plus one more thing, guys. We have also transparently mentioned our alumni, right? So what you can do is you can click on any alumni. You can look at their review, and there are like more than 100 reviews that we have mentioned. Not only reviews, for many of them we have mentioned their whole story. You can understand what they are saying, what was their journey, so you can empathize. Plus, we have also mentioned their LinkedIn profiles very transparently, so that you can go ahead and actually talk to them before joining the program. Right? Just one important thing: if you join the program, you have to commit 15 hours every week, which means 4 to 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours on the weekends for the live session. If you cannot join the live sessions, recordings are available, and about 11 to 10 hours to make sure that you are able to complete the study material, the reading, and the assignments. Right? These cohorts run once in every 2 months or 45 days. Right? The timing for this cohort is Sunday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. IST. If you are in a different time zone, you can just click on schedule, and then you can check your time zone here. We have a small widget where you can check your time zones. Right? Understand, guys? In this cohort, everyone who joins, all of your questions will be answered. Right now, you can see that right now we are not opening up the mic and you cannot speak. But in this cohort, you can go ahead and discuss anything that you want. Right? Yes, you can pay the fees in installments as well. Right? So this is the program. Now, guys, what I'll do is, everyone, please go ahead. Yes. Some of the tools we give you access to. So recently we have partnered with Google Gemini for giving the student access for free. Right? So yes, guys, one more important thing before you can go. Yes, please don't go till now. I have the feedback form to share with you. Now, guys, look at this very carefully. At HelloPM, we help you learn through the most exhaustive curriculum. Then we help you practice with all the tools, plus the real case studies, plus the projects that you build, so that you build your portfolio. These are the most important parts. If you do that, you will 100% deserve what you desire. Now comes the third part, which is the placement. For placement, we have multiple things. First is, we give you access to this inside job board where you can see multiple profiles which are open, APM, PM across the world. And second is, we help you create a better resume optimization. We help you build a portfolio, and we also help you prepare for interviews. Right? So how do we prepare you for interviews? Look at this. We will give you this exhaustive guide, and we will give you mock interviews which covers more than 300 questions. It's very rare that some other question is going to come out of these questions. Right? Yes. So now, everyone, I have told you all the context. I hope you learned something from these 2 days out there. Everyone, please go ahead and put your feedback here, so that we can go ahead and share you the content as soon as it is available. The recordings are available. Yes. If you guys have any questions about the program, you can simply write it down in the feedback form. Right? Yes. Mohammed and Amina, what you can do is, you can simply reach out to this email address that I am mentioning. Yes. So guys, let's say if someone cannot spend 4 months, we also have a fast track program, which is, you can simply go ahead and get the past recordings of the sessions, past cohorts, and then you can consume them. Along with this, we will also give you access to the live program. Right? So both are available. There is no additional cost for the fast track program. And also, guys, understand, let's say you join in August, but let's say you want to again repeat the cohort next month or any other time in the next 2 years. Let's say you enrolled for cohort number 53, you again want to participate in 55, 56, 57. You can do so. For 2 months, your candidature is active. You will get all the benefits for 2 years. There is no different fees for the short program, Preeti. That is the same program, just that you will get the recordings in advance. Yes. And all of the content that you are seeing on the website in terms of curriculum, about 70-80% of that content would be delivered by me. 70-80% of this content would be delivered by me all of these weeks. All of these weeks would be delivered by me. Right? So go ahead, guys. If you are interested to join the program, just go ahead and also send the feedback and write your intent in the feedback form. Yes. Cool. I hope you guys found the value from the sessions. Yes. Everyone, a final on a scale of 1 to 5 if you found these sessions helpful. Yes. Cool. Amazing. So I wish you a very best of luck in your career going forward. At any point of time, you need any kind of help, feel free to reach out to us. My email is mentioned on the HelloPM website. You can also go to my LinkedIn profile. My personal email is mentioned there. Feel free to reach out. Even if you do not want to join the course, if you want to join the course, you can always ask me for help or advice. Plus, what you can also do is, if you guys are really serious about, let's say, learning about AI and product management, please look at all the content from the HelloPM channel. We have gone ahead and put so much detailed content there. Along with this, guys, understand, when you decide to join any program, any paid program for AI or product management or anything, understand that you are not only taking a bet on your money, you are also taking a bet on your time and your dreams. So make sure that before you join any program, talk to their alumni, understand the instructor, look at their content. Once you feel the confidence, then only go ahead and join. Right? Cool. Thank you, guys. Bye and take care. We are right on time. I look forward to see you very, very soon. We'll keep on doing these master classes. So feel free to go ahead, and even if you don't want to join the program, that's okay. We'll keep on generating the free value for you so that you guys keep on learning. Yes. Thank you, guys. Bye and take care. This is Ankit signing off from today's session. Thank you, guys. Bye. Take care. Bye, guys. Thank you. Take care. Bye.